Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is happening, traders? God bless each and every single one of you guys. Hope you're having a stand-up freaking day. Today, we're going to be giving you a very, very important and crazy update on not just ticker symbol AMC, not just GME, but the broader freaking market, guys. So if this is something you want to know more about, stay the full length of the video, hit the subscribe button, and help the algorithm by liking the freaking video. So starting with the broader indexes, guys, I'll put thumbnails in the video description, giving you guys each individual covering, but I wanted to start with the broader market because this is the best news we've had today, right? We'll jump back into what Adam Aaron was saying, but I'm so freaking excited, traders, that you're seeing a big boom candle, right? A freaking choo full steam ahead. The train is back on track for the broader markets of being bullish as you see this freaking breakout on IWM. Now, IWM is our small cap basket asset indice, right? But you can also look no further than S&P, right? SPY breaking out of this bullish triangular formation and seeing a daily cross to the upside on the MACD. So in total, right, some very, very good signs on the broader market. And as well as not just SPY having its MACD on the daily cross upwards, but also is IWM on track to do so. So I'm freaking loving the price action in the markets today. Not just the broader markets freaking moving like crazy, but you also have AMC shattering weekend revenue records, setting the highest weekend revenue mark in the company's 106-year history. You've got to pump it up. Here we go, pump it up. More than 10.2 million moviegoers attended AMC theaters in the United States and Odeon cinemas internationally from Wednesday through Sunday. AMC generated its highest total revenue in a single weekend, Wednesday through Sunday, including new records for admissions revenue and set new records for food and beverage, guys. So their average ticket is up. Their visitation is up. Their freaking revenue is up. Their freaking margin is up, guys. This is the exact thing that we've been preaching and waiting for throughout the entire 6 months that we've been covering this bullish small cap thesis, right? You have IWM smashing through 300 soon after this breakout of the falling wedge. You have AMC smashing through its all-time historical downtrend, guys. We mentioned this in our last video. You have never been so close to doing something so big in AMC's history. We'll give that sucker a little refresh. Give me AMC, baby. Let's see. Okay, you've literally been never this close to doing something so amazing. And I'm absolutely jacked on where this thing could go. Looking at the smaller time frames for AMC, there we are. You saw that we hit 309 in the pre-market. You saw a little bit of a sell-off to retrace and retest your wedge-like formation structure that you had on AMC going into the weekend that we covered after you saw the freaking crazy box office numbers. It's no freaking surprise that AMC ran up 9% in the 4-hour candle from the start of the pre-market, right? Seeing this drawdown, of course, is discouraging, but looking at where you found the bounce, guys, a pitch perfect retest, and you're now in the moments of fighting for this 4-hour 9 EMA, which you've stayed healthily above the entire rally up. So if you want to see this bullish momentum continue, you need to close above this, just like you barely closed below on this wick. And additionally, right, you need to turn around this daily candlestick. This daily candlestick is absolutely ugly. It's disgusting, and it reminds me exactly of what this candlestick was at the previous top, right? This previous top was 296. You're now at 303. So if you printed the exact same candlestick, of course, the bearish scenario exists in which you make a bearish double top on slightly higher volume. Not ideal, right? Considering you have a gap fill at 205, not ideal. But what I think is likely, traders, is in seeing this breakout, right? The macro breakout that you've seen, I expect some freaking volume, especially granted the amazing news and the bull posting that CEO Adam Aaron is doing, right? You've just broken the most historic trend line on AMC's chart history in the last 6 freaking years, guys. And I'm not just trying to get you jacked. I'm not just trying to get you excited, even though that is my freaking job. But looking at the weekly time frame, guys, look no further than the thing that you're doing for the first time since 2021, traders. We've mentioned it multiple times on this channel. We covered it in the last video. You're doing exactly what we covered. You're getting across of the 9 on the weekly EMA through the 50 for the first time, traders. Stay with me. Lock in. Lock the frick in. For the first time since back here, January 29th of 2021, guys, you're seeing the first cross since you saw this weekly 277% candle. If that does not get the gears a flowing, and if that does not get you guys excited, I don't know what will, right? Look at the explosive pop in price, and then how these candles on the weekly time frame, each of them wick below but close above, showing strength on the stock until you close a cross above the 200 on the weekly time frame. Yes, guys, that was June. Look at where you are today, right? So, whoops, let's put that back. Even though, guys, you are significantly above the 9-day EMA, there may come a time in which you see an explosive move higher, right? $4, maybe $3.90. That's in line with these previous 2 tops. You see a touch of bearish divergence, and then you come down to retest, right? Not out of the picture at all. And I truthfully, guys, believe the best is yet to come. The more you zoom out, guys, the sexier this chart looks, and the bulls are truthfully on parade. But one thing that I want to get clear to you guys is, as you see SPY gapping up, as you see IWM breaking out of its falling wedge with strength, right? Currently at the highs of the day, you can see AMC doing something and changing behaviors that is not done in over 6 freaking years, guys. 6 years is the last time you saw this cross. So I remain convicted. I remain bullish, even though the short term, you may see a pullback into that weekly 9, currently trading at 230. Right. And of course, that's going to change, right? It could change to 250 by the time you get down there, because this 9 EMA on the weekly is so vertically prompted that if you come back down, right, you're talking about a significant test of 250 to 260. And the more you look at the daily time frame, the more bullish it gets, because you have the 9 EMA currently trading at 260, right, on the daily time frame. You also have your previous high at 260. So the higher you scale this thing and ladder to the north side, the more resilient this stock will become. And that's what we kind of had drawn up in TradingView, is that on the daily time frame, you could see something very, very easily retesting 260 if you see this thing chop around. Because even if you don't see this thing explode past its previous highs, right? Even if you don't explode past 318, which I would love to freaking see, chopping around these highs, guys, is significantly bullish. And I don't want anyone to tell you otherwise, because staying above the previous highs here on the local time frame, 260, revisiting that and bouncing, shows a sign of strength. Shows that you are bullishly consolidating at the highs before seeking higher price action. Now let's talk about another sign of technically bearish price action, right? You're on the cusp of getting into the bull zone on the daily time frame. You need that follow through, apes. You need it. You need the volume to come through. You're in an overall volume downtrend on the daily time frame, and it's only 1:09 p.m. where I'm at right now, Central Standard Time. So that could change today. You could see that break, and you could see the bulls rally, just like we talked about in the last video, right? Is that meme, he can't keep getting away with this, from Breaking Bad, from Jesse Pinkman. And that's what AMC's been doing, right? Every single one of these long-wicked candles has been close at the highs. Could this close at the highs? We'll have to wait and see. But AMC is on the cusp of getting into the bull zone on the daily time frame, guys. This week is going to be very vindictive of what you do in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right? because you put in a technical touch with that pre-market rally of top one, lower high in the RSI, right? Higher high in the price, bearish divergence 1, bearish divergence 2, equal high, bearish divergence 3, lower high, right? So if you do not see AMC consolidate at the highs and get into the bull zone of the daily time frame, there's a good chance that this rally gets stalled a little bit. So that's something that I'm watching like a hawk. It's something that I will continue to be very attentive to, because you need to see it's go time, apes. It is freaking go time. Any hesitation for anything longer than 2-3 weeks outside of this all-time resistance line, and it becomes apparent to me that the bulls are not ready to go on their run, right? Because you've just put the bears in timeout. You need to see bulls step up here. So we'll continue to cover that. AMC is dangerously close right now. Currently trading at 68.91 on the daily RSI. It just needs to get into 70. Because every time you get into 70, you see the most explosive candles on the stock appear. 9% in the last time it happened, 6%, and then another 6% before blow off top. Time previous, 9%, followed by 22%, and that was before the consolidation, right? Time before that, 7%, 6%, 8%, consolidation, 15%, right? So it's very vindictive of a explosive rally coming. You've broken the meatiest, right? The beefiest trend line that you've ever had on AMC's history. You just need to see the sexy freaking follow through, guys. So that's what we're waiting for technical analysis on AMC. I believe we'll get there. But regardless, guys, the broader market looks freaking amazing. AMC's chart on the macro looks freaking amazing, guys. We covered it in the last couple videos. The weekly looks set up. The monthly is officially breaking out. The quarterly time frame. Everything is there that you wanted to see. You saw the goal of the cross on the quarterly MACD. That was the contingency that we were waiting for to see this kind of 400% and 455% candle on AMC. So that's what we're waiting for, right? Any day now. Any day now. Gary the Goose is going to pop on live stream as we're up 100% on the day. I want to take a quick little peeky weeky at technical symbol GME. As you can see, whoa, down 14% on the day, 1856 to be exact, leaving a technical gap at 2166, a new technical landmark to revisit at a later time. Seeing a nasty dump off of what was some crazy news on GameStop. Right? Some crazy freaking news. So we'll go over that now. Make sure if you guys are fans of the freaking passion that I speak with and bring to you guys every single day, slap the subscribe button and keep watching, right? So GameStop, GME is drawn down sharply today, roughly 6 to 14%, depending on the day in which it's trading, right? With reports hitting a new 52-week low, mainly due to dilution concerns from a $1.4 billion debt for equity exchange announced Monday morning. So Ryan Cohen came out today and announced a $1.4 billion pretty much coverage of its debt, outstanding 0% convertible senior notes, roughly $400 million due at 2030. So this was long-term pushed out debt. And I think that's where a lot of the stock reaction comes in, right? This gnarly down, 14% gap down comes is because this is debt that is not expected to be covered so soon. And to do it on a Monday morning is definitely shocking. For newly issued common class A stock with certain note holders, the company receives no cash from the deal. Once it closes, expanded around 23rd of September, the notes will be canceled, cutting long-term debt by $1.4 billion from roughly $417 billion previously, leaving about $3 billion outstanding, right? So the contingency on this offering, or covering this, is the number of new shares issued will be based partly on the 35-day trading VWAP, or volume weight average price. Subject to the floor, this increases share count and dilutes existing shareholders' ownership, yada, 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 yada. So with the existing eBay acquisition, people are questioning how this plays into factor. And I don't have that answer right now, but I do have the technical answer on the VWAP, right? How many new shares are going to be issued at what price? It looks like VWAP on the monthly is about $22, 22 schmeckles, right? Theoretically, that divided by 1.4 billion gives you about 63 million new shares offered into the markets that should expect to increase GME's float by, right? 63 million shares is no small task, but it's not anything worth, in my opinion, 14% with a big fat, you know what it is, daily gap at $21, guys. So I think the worst part of this is the more you zoom out, right? We had that thesis that GameStop is in. Go to TradingView for this. It becomes a little bit more apparent in that bullish pennant formation. And although you could reclaim this, guys, I want to make it clear you have broken down from your significant support and resistance now from this 2024 uptrend, right? You've broken down perfectly from it, right? At the gap fill. But the hope here is you've hit very, very stubborn support. And the exciting part about this is this gets the volatility back into GME's chain in a way that has not been there in a very long time. So you may see 10% up GME days, 20% up GME days. And this is what you needed to kind of defibrillate, right? Got the defibs going on GME, on GameStop for volatility. And I know this is what a lot of people have been hoping for, although it did not happen in the manner that a lot of people want. I'm hoping that the retest of this previous rejection all the way to the local lows and support after the rally here aids as a very nice area to average down. And the more you zoom out, guys, the more bullish it gets, because looking at the weekly Bollinger Bands, you are outside of the weekly Bollinger Bands. Now you can see a lot of GameStop's very, very vertical reversals happen at this key point in time. You can see it November of 2025. You can see it back in March of 2025. You can see it back at the low, literally before the 2024 squeeze, right? And this goes on and on and on and on, traders. As you can see, some of GameStop's best opportunities come at the weekly Bollinger Bands. And I will not continue to kind of measure this out, but I want you guys to see for yourselves. Just take a look at the freaking charts, guys. Every single time you've come into the weekly Bollinger Bands, you've seen explosive price action the previous day. And this is what a lot of people have been waiting for on GME. Now you go to the daily time frame, guys. Give it a little refresh and a little peeky weeky at the daily time frame on GME. Even though this does not mean the absolute bottom is in for certain, look at where you are. Woo-wee. Look at where you are on the daily RSI, guys. 8 freaking teen. Wow. You're at 18 on the daily RSI, guys. Look, partnering this with the volatility, the VWAP, right? The Bollinger Bands. Technical analysis is very, very confluent. You can see the lows come in at points in time in which every single indicator is telling you oversold, 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 right? And all it's going to take is a tweet from Ryan Cohen, is a tweet from Roy and Kitty, right? To see this thing bottom out. You're in a fantastic freaking position on the daily time frame. That's actually the 4-hour time frame. On the daily time frame, you're right around 26. So you're officially in oversold. And you can see partnering with the Bollinger Bands every single time you're in oversold and you come to this mark for GME. It's where you see this thing turn around vertically, right? So I would not be surprised to see that same thing happen. Same thing occur, right? Last time you saw it was right here, 34% to the upside. Saw it back here. Saw a miniature rally, 20% before more downside. Saw it back here. 50% to the upside. Saw it on this double bottom. 144%, right? Saw it again right here. 50%. So you've seen almost a 50% or more to the upside movement once you have this happen, guys. You're in a area of significant support and resistance. If that were to occur, guys, not only are you breaking back into your bullish pennant, right? So not only is this a significantly bullish opportunity to average down, but you're above your resistance. And that would be the Uno reverse card of a freaking century, man. Could you imagine the people saying that this thing is done, dusted, and screwed down here at $18, how their faces would look when you're coming into the gap fills back here, right? Left in 2025 of June. How those faces would look if you did something like this, right? A complete and utter bear trap. I would be personally absolutely thrilled. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it. I really, really would not be surprised to see it. But let's talk about the technical bear scenarios for GameStop, because every scenario matters, right? You should be determined to have in my opinion, right? I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take this as financial advice, but I am personally determined in every single trade that I take to see what is the bearish and what is the bullish, because you should have a plan going into these things to make sure that regardless of where it goes, you come out on top, right? You are the decider of your own success. The bearish scenario here, right? Let's go back to Webull, because Webull shows all, when you pull up the monthly time frame, you have a very, very clear bearish scenario in which you go down to the monthly 200-day EMA, because not only do you have the weekly 200-day EMA curling down, about to get a weekly death cross, which is not a great look, but you also have, traders, the monthly 200-day currently sitting right around that 1522 mark. And I would not be surprised if this happens, right? Taking a little peeky weeky at our past couple of drawdowns here, 15 is not just that area of the 200-day monthly EMA. Look how perfectly this left shoulder measures up with this 200. With the way that you'd be sliding down into it, those two would submerge very, very soon, and that would be very symmetrical in terms of a setup of a shoulder head, elongated right shoulder, and finding very, very critical support on this thing. So this double bottom was the last time you visited it. Before this double bottom, would not be surprised to see that visited once again. And we're watching it very closely, right? Everything from the volume to the candlestick formations matter here. And you haven't given enough to give you concrete, right, information on where this thing's going to go. But as it stands, traders, I remain freaking jacked about this stock, about the fundamentals, and where I think it's going to go in the long-term success. Because this double bottom would be a freaking beautiful opportunity to get in on some GME shares, as well as for volatility to ramp up. On the weekly time frame, I found this interesting. You do have a touch of technical bullish divergence, so I figured it's something worth covering, right? Just barely sliding beneath this uptrend on the weekly RSI. That's all the way back from the 2024 squeeze. But when you look closer here, you have made a slightly higher high as the stock makes a pretty significant lower low here. So something to be interested in. I'll be very, very intrigued to see how the weekly closes. That's pretty much going to set you up for whether or not you're going on a freaking tear back up to this $21 gap fill, or whether or not you chop and you bear flag, guys. So this is going to become very, very interesting here to see what you do, right? What you do. Maybe it's some kind of reversal like that. Nobody truthfully knows. But one thing is for sure, women lie, men lie, but technical analysis does not freaking lie, guys. So as this situation develops, I plan to be your go-to destination. So as always, traders, subscribe, like, share, do all the things. God bless you and your families. And remember, guys, the best is yet to come. Let's freaking go. And peace. Woo!